All right, calling the City of Gladstone Commission meeting to order for June 26th. First up is invocation and pledge of allegiance, led by Commissioner Thompson.
Father, as we gather to make decisions for our community, may we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us, and always act in accordance with what is best for our community and our fellow citizens. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Thalen,
Here.
Commissioner Mantala,
Here.
Commissioner Thompson,
Here.
Commissioner View,
Here.
and Mayor Bosworth.
Here. All right, first up is public comment.
Good evening. I'm State Representative Beau Lefebvre. I'm here to present myself before the council for any issues that you guys have. And also, I'm going to stick out as long as I can, listen to any issues that people have, and if anybody wants to talk to me after the meeting, I'd be happy to address those issues. One of the things from a legislative update standpoint that we did in Lansing was a vote on teacher retirement. Basically, if you are a new hire after February of 2018, you are going to have a defined, you're going to have a 401k as opposed to a pension. You can opt into a smaller pension amount, but the defined benefit, the defined contribution is going to be 4% from the state with a 3% match, up to 3%. So there's a lot of people worried that we're going to take people's pensions away, and that's just not the case. Also, I'm working on a package of bills that would eliminate cities, counties, and townships from being able to be sanctuary cities. You can't have the sheriff or the police in charge tell the officers you're fired if you call Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Finally, another piece that I think is going to be helpful for the city of Gladstone and for Delta County as a whole, I've got a bill that says that you'd be able to go in through your Public Works Department or the Road Commission, go into any gravel pit that the state operates or has under the control of the DNR and use all the gravel that you need to fix your roads. So I've introduced that legislation. It just went to the Transportation Committee. I'm looking forward to get that ball rolling down the field because the fact is that the DNR is sitting on all this gravel and they're not using it. We ought to be able to use that for our roads because as citizens of Michigan, we know that we could really use some help on those roads. So with that, I open it up to questions from the board.
Thank you for coming, Representative Lefebvre, and appreciate you stopping by and spending some time. One issue that is affecting our city and many cities also are the MERS funding, the retirement funding for municipal employees. Is there any movement on that? And do you see anyone pushing on that? And do you see that on your docket?
You know, I
possibly?
didn't see the MIPSERS reform on my horizon, and then all of a sudden one day I show up and bam, there it is. But I will say I haven't heard anybody talking about that very much, and as soon as I have something I can bring to you guys, I'll absolutely will. But I don't see any movement on that issue right now.
I'm sure if you talk to our mayor and our city and any township or county municipality in your district, it's a concern, and we hope that gets looked at soon.
I think that from our standpoint in the House, that we had a $29.1 billion deficit on the teacher pension. I think that right after that comes down to municipal employees. So I think that it wouldn't surprise me if that came up. But we took care of the biggest one from a state liability standpoint, but from a statewide liability standpoint, the MERS is definitely a concern.
It's affecting how the services we can provide here and upgrading roads and other infrastructure that we really want to tackle. And that's taking a lion's share of our resources and is going to continue into the future. So we hope that gets looked at soon.
Yes, sir.
My big question would have been state revenue sharing, but I heard you talking to Brad about it before the meeting. I know you tried, but there's really got to be something more there, especially when the state continues to spend, and take more away from the municipalities. And, you know, we've suffered drastically because of it, especially in our little municipality here. That was a lot of the funding we used for our streets and roads. So
Yeah, I would have loved to
I
give you.
hope you continue to fight for it.
Yeah, I would have loved to given you at least 10% increase. Man, I sure wish we had the money.
We'll take anything you can give for us.
Yes, sir. I'll keep working next time. We'll see if we can do just a little bit better. I will say it was a decent budget. I'm glad you got something.
What about health care reform? The cost of health care for municipalities and stuff like that. Is there anything in the works for trying to keep that cost down? Or for our employees, for our unions, stuff like that?
Yeah, I can't say I've heard anybody talking much about that down there either. But like I said about MERS, if I hear anything, I'll definitely come before the board again, and we'll discuss the merits of bill as it comes forward, if it comes forward.
Something that came up on Friday night, I got an email from Vicky Schwab about the road salt issue. Do you know about them giving the discount for buying the salt from Detroit?
Yeah, fascinating conversation. So I had a resolution before the Commerce and Trade Committee, and I've never testified before that committee before. Of course, I know all my colleagues in there, but so I went in and I had a resolution urging the President of the United States and Congress to keep funding the Essential Air Service program, and thankfully it passed the House. I don't know if it's worth the paper it's written on, but I had to do something, and it'll be a letter written to the President and Congress. But while I was there, they were discussing the merits and the pros and cons of giving a 5%, I don't know exactly if it was a reserve or if they got a bonus or if everybody else. Basically, if two bidders came in at the same price for road salt, the salt mine in Detroit would get a 5% reduction in cost on paper to give them a competitive advantage for buying road salt. And I'm sitting in there wondering, how in the world is Delta County or Dickinson or Menominee going to truck all that stuff up from Detroit when they can get it from the Escanaba ore dock, shipped in from Canada or from Wisconsin? It doesn't make any sense statewide. So I don't think that got out of committee yet. In fact, I know it didn't get out of committee yet. I'm not in support of it ever seeing the light of day on the House floor because there's no reason to give a Detroit-based mining company preferential treatment in bidding processes, in my opinion. But I'd be a no.
It affects us because our salt dock down here is used by the whole county.
Yeah.
And our salt comes from the Great Lakes area. It doesn't all come from Detroit. And so.
Yeah, and you guys buy your salt through the Department of Transportation, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Through my deal.
Yeah,
My Deal?
My Deal,
Okay.
that's what it's
Through
called.
My Deal.
So if anything that increases the cost to the state of Michigan, the MDOT, My Deal prices go up, it completely affects you guys. What if it was only a 2% increase? Well, it doesn't sound like that big of a deal to a politician in Lansing, but when I sit in Gladstone or Iron Mountain, a 2% increase in salt costs means that that's 20 potholes or 30 potholes that can't get filled. So I'm all free markets. You know, if the free market can get it from Florida cheaper than it can Detroit, so be it. So I'm not in support of that bill, but I appreciate you bringing it up.
Thanks.
I don't suppose you have any position on that, or
Well, I'd be against it because we have the company that owns our docks. That's their main livelihood now that coal is gone by the wayside. So
as I had a feeling, but I didn't
Yeah.
want to assume.
Anyone else have any questions? Well, thank you for showing up, and anytime you're welcome to come here.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'll stick around as long as I can.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any more public comment?
Jeff Diebold, 703 Michigan.
I think later today you guys are going to be voting on delinquent utilities and putting them on tax rolls. Just want to read a few things. Revenue Bond Act of 1933 gives the city the right to place unpaid utilities on property tax roll. The time and manner of this certification and other details are to be prescribed by the city ordinance. City ordinance, this is Gladstone City Ordinance 58-115B, only defines unpaid water services charges to be placed as a lien. Electrical and solid waste charges are not defined. Section 58-115D, certification of charges is done on or before May 1st of each year. June 26th is not May 1st. Shut-off notice, notification, or procedures in your utility policy. The first shut-off notice, past due notice, will be issued after a utility customer is 1 month in arrears or deposit owing. The notice will be mailed by first-class mail to the customer's billing address and landlord, if applicable. The customer will be given 10 days to pay the bill in full or enter into a full payment arrangement. I've owned properties in Gladstone for over 15 years. I've never been notified of such delinquent bills until they're about to be placed on my taxes. So I see 3 policies here that are not being followed, and we're about to vote on it today. I'm not sure there's a legal right to do so. My opinion as a lawyer should be consulted on this. This is the way it's always been done. That does not mean it's right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any more public comment? All right, moving on to consent agenda for the regular meeting of June 12th and payment of bills.
I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
Support.
All right, motion by Commissioner View, support by Commissioner Mantala to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any more discussion? Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Unfinished business, solid waste cost analysis.
Mark has a few things he wants to talk about. Solid waste cost analysis.
Good evening, Commissioners. Wish I had all the answers tonight, but I don't. But I do have some stuff. I did get a quote from International on a new truck with some cost. I was a little, the information they were sending me was really piecemeal because we have a different pieces to it that go together, and I wasn't seeing the cost on what they were sending me. So just before the meeting, I asked them to send me just a simple breakdown of cost on what a truck would be. Okay, so I'll give you a breakdown on that anyways. Truck cost is with a trade. Well, no, there's a trade. Truck cost is $98,141 for the truck. The body's $106,511. Freight's $1,700, and then an option to have a right-hand steering option when you're picking up cans. That's really nice, so you can see what you're doing. That's $8,048. A total of $214,400, a trade-in value of $40,000, $40,000,
$40.
Yeah. So a net cost of $174,400 on the truck. So I didn't get a lease breakdown yet from them, but that's what the actual costs are for this particular truck right here, and I can get you that information, the truck and what it is. That's basically the same truck we have as far as the compactor goes, size and everything else like that. So what the guys, they're comfortable with that. It works well. It's a new International with a Cummins engine, not the old engine that we had trouble with. So I know that. I know that we right now have about $100,000 in our fund balance that's cash available. That can be used towards purchase of the truck or whatever else if we wanted to.
The price you just quoted, that was for purchase?
That was just a purchase outright. Yep.
Have you had any feedback on lease?
No, because I didn't have actual numbers. I wanted to
Okay.
start off with that, then I
Okay.
can go back and talk. We'd met with them, Eric and I met with them and talked about leases, and the original lease that we looked at was a full-service lease,
Yep.
and that was not the best way to go. So just probably a municipal type of lease is what we would want to go with.
Okay.
That'd be the simplest thing to do. We've been putting, and Vicki can verify this maybe, but we've been putting money in our fund balance every year. This year, we're projecting about $42,000 to go into our fund balance. Yes, Steve?
Would it- You said the body was 106,000?
Yes. Yep.
Would the new truck fit on our old body? Is our body good enough for the other? I mean, you said it was similar, and you got
Yeah.
a $40,000 trade-in, so I'm thinking, how much would it cost to?
Just take the old one off.
Well, I mean, because it isn't that old, is it? I mean, would we save another $40,000 by doing that, is what I'm asking.
I can ask. I don't know. I could
Was it the
ask.
problem with the chassis, though? All the problems?
I thought it was hydraulics and
It's,
stuff.
it's mainly the engine.
The engine.
It's been the engine. Yeah, the hydraulics, there's an arm that pushes the trash back, and that broke once on us, but we had that fixed. That was about 10 grand. Most of the things that have happened are related to the engine that we've had.
You happen to know what's the life expectancy on a vehicle like this? If we were to buy one outright, how many years can we expect to get out of it?
Well, this-
Reliable service?
The one we have now is a 2012.
But we've had problems with that right from the start.
Yeah, I would hope we'd have 7 years of use out of it. I would hope. I mean, turnover. I talked to Delta Disposal a little bit about how they turn them over, and that's about what they shoot for.
7 years?
About 7 years.
And that's a good plan for any type of equipment, to keep it running efficient and not being piecemealed into costing a lot of money for upkeep.
Right.
After
That's-
7 years, you
That's
trade
why
it.
we need to look at the lease versus buyout. I mean, if you're gonna buy one every 7 years, maybe it is cheaper to lease one. You know, it's, you know.
No, but like
it's-
Escanaba has some that are a lot older than that. and
Yeah.
They maintain very good. and-
Yes.
And they last a lot longer, but
Yeah, I talked to Bill Farrell.
Yeah, I have
I did talk to him about their trucks that they use. And he gets a little bit more life out of his than we have. I don't have it, other than what we have right now, I don't have the, any background. But, right now, we don't have a tandem axle. I mean, that's a huge deterrent to what we do. The engine's just a lemon. I mean, so I think we kind of got stuck with a couple things that were not ideal for us. So our goal is to get into something that actually is going to be what we should be running, and then just continue that going that way. We would keep our orange truck that we have now. It's an old truck, but it's been a good backup for us. It's slower, takes a little bit more time, but it's been reliable for the most part. But that's not going to last that long either, so we shouldn't have to rely on it a whole lot either if we're getting something a little bit more new, basically. So, I think the bottom line is, though, with the truck, we're in the trash business. I mean, we're going to have to continue to make our fleet so it's reliable. I mean, I get more phone calls about trash than anything in a week. It's like the number one phone call. And, if we have troubles with that, we hear about it, and people really expect their garbage to be picked up. So I think our goal is to have a truck and just continue to do that and have a similar vehicle so we don't have all these different parts and get into a system that works for us. And I think that's what this truck would do. I have talked to some other people. We had a truck stop by last week, Thursday or Friday, and they were up in the area here, so we checked it out. It was a Sidewinder. It was called a Sidewinder. we took it out and demoed it around town. The guy said it wasn't that. The way it picked up would be hitting fences and all sorts of stuff in our current system. If our cans were out on the road, it would be great. It was a great truck, but other than that, it doesn't work in our alleys very well. Our alleys are very tight, and that makes it really hard to operate a truck like that in the alleys. It really does. So, so any questions about trucks? I mean, that's kind of some of that. I think the bottom line is we need to put money away for vehicles and plan ahead. And our cans, like our trash cans, they don't last forever either. So we're going to have to continually put money aside, I think yearly, in a fund to make sure we have that money there. We put money in fund balance, so as long as there's money there, we have money to cover it. And we've been doing that. Our DPW building, I mentioned this at one of the last meetings, is that, the solid waste fund, in my opinion, should contribute towards that building down there, whether it's paying for gas and utilities or a new roof or whatever. About a quarter of that building is taken up by solid waste vehicles, so. One thing that's interesting, and, it's not a full-time job running as far as the actual pickup of services. The guy who operates the vehicle, it's 4 days a week. We have 3 days of trash pickup and 1 day of recycling. There's a lot of days where Kyle is done by 1 or done by 12, and then those days he goes on to working on something else. Mondays are not that day, and Tuesdays are generally not that day, but Wednesdays and Thursdays, he's not working full-time in solid waste. So I kind of would like to see just kind of a breakdown of our payroll cost, just to see where that actually fits in a year. And that would be my payroll, whoever works in solid waste, just see where that breaks out. That was kind of where I'm at with it. I mean, so.
Well, when he's done doing work for the solid waste department, does his time switch over to DPW?
Yeah, he goes over and works on streets
When
or,
his time switches, it's not all billed to solid waste?
yeah, our payroll, his timesheets reflect where he's working for that day.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just not a full-time job. I just wanted to, from that standpoint.
No, if you could continue to break that down, and so we can get a cost analysis on that and make sure that
Yeah.
we're doing everything as efficiently as possible, from an equipment standpoint and a staffing standpoint.
Yes.
That's where we want to be in the end.
I just got one more question. Are we not using this truck here anymore?
Which one? The white one?
The newer one?
Oh, no, we're using it. It's
We
up
are?
and running.
Okay.
I mean, we just dumped $4,000 into a new PTO. I just drove by today and I said, "It's what yours." I go, "There goes our $4,000 PTO," but it's just kind of, it's just one of those things that some things break down. So yeah, we are using it, and it is running better now. I mean, it is. It's out of warranty though.
For how long?
Yeah.
Do you think we could get more money by selling it, or do you think
Oh,
if we go with a lease, would they take that in on a down towards the trade on a down payment towards a lease, or would we have to sell it?
used cars are funny business. I mean, I don't know, and the Sidewinder guy, we showed him it, and he really didn't want it. I mean, I don't know what value it has. We could feel that out a little bit, but.
You were offered $40,000 for a trade-in?
Yeah, for trade-in, we were offered $40,000, but that doesn't compare to what a new, but we've had some use out of the truck, and
There
it's out
probably
of-
won't be a big demand for a lemon once they look at the records and
Yeah.
what's been happening with that. So
Right.
40,000
Like
is-
just take that.
it sounds low for
I
what
know.
the truck is worth, but
yeah, it's got a history out there.
I'd be interested to see if we could save another 40,000 by using that
The back
chassis.
end, yeah. Well, the 40,000 will go down then on the trade-in.
I
Yeah.
realize that. Even if you lost 40,000, because you're talking 109,000
Right.
for that, and it costs, say, 20,000 to replace
Oh,
it.
I see what you're saying, yeah. Yeah. Can check into it. I don't know what it would take to convert that over,
I don't either. Maybe it can't be done, but
That might not be able to be done.
You might not be able to. I can check, though.
Be worth looking into just to see if there's any cost saving there.
Actually, Bill Farrell suggested that too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did.
And we don't match up with him because we have a high compact truck?
It's a different type of vehicle.
Because they don't go as far?
They don't go as
and
far.
we need to have more to haul? Okay.
Yep,
that's-
ours compacts in, yep.
Because I talked to him and he said it'd be nice if we could have the same equipment, and then we'd have the same parts, and we'd have everything operating the same, but
It
it's
would.
different needs.
Yeah, you know, we talked about it, so. It's a little bit different. We have a little bit of a drive to get out there, and he doesn't have quite that same thing, so. Anyways, that's what I know at that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, new business, backhoe.
Stay up there.
Get your other folders.
All right. We are currently without a backhoe within the city. It's been down. It's shot. I mean, it's wore out. It's a 1996. I don't remember the. Oh, I'd have to look it up. But anyways, so we put a bid out to look at a new backhoe. One of the pieces of equipment, when the commission was so nice to allocate $250,000 out of the electric fund to purchase some equipment, one of the pieces of equipment was a backhoe loader. So this is, I put in the commission packet here that this is the fourth of the four that we were shooting for. We already have a salter, we have a new snow blower, and the trench box we just got in here a little bit ago. So we're on to the case, the new backhoe. So we put it out to bid, put a bid out for either a 3 or 4 year lease. I had my guys help put together specifications for what we need and want, and got 2 bids back. And I did a comparison. Is that in your packet? The breakdown. I didn't know how else to do it, but to do a 3 or 4 year lease between Fabric Cat and Nortrax were the 2 bids we got. I just kind of broke it down so I could see per month what the lease amount would be. So Fabric Cat, as far as a per month cost on the 4 year lease, was by far the cheaper.
Just for the same piece of equipment, same model, comparable model?
Yes,
And make?
yes, what I did is I had a spec that left it open for them to write in what was similar, but we had this is what we want, and so they had to at least meet that.
Okay.
So, and they met everything that we asked for. Now, I did talk to Fabric Cat, and he said if you wanted to, he would be willing to talk a little bit more about a further out lease, 5 or 6 year lease possibly, and that could get our cost down a little bit more. And this is a full service lease, this one is, so we would have help taking care of this for a little bit longer, and at the end there'd be a lot lower buyout. So we'd probably, I don't know what the number would be, but the buyout would be a lot less at the end. And we do have a little money left based on the 200, my simple math going backwards, 250 minus the cost of the vehicles. So I had put $30,000 down out of that, not exactly knowing how much money we would have back. And we actually have about a little under 60,000 according to my calculations. I'd have to verify with Vicki.
Well, is this lease price with the down payment?
Yes, yep, 30,000 down, trading in a dresser, old loader, and the old backhoe.
So that's worth 30,000 additional, or
What's that?
The trade-in, or is that where that money's coming from for the down payment?
No, the down payment was from that 250 that you guys
Okay,
allocated.
It's a cash, and then we have an additional, what was it?
Trade-in for the,
And that was
What was the value of the trade-in?
Another 30,000, so it'd be 60,000, and then the lease payment would still be for that one place, $4,931
Okay.
on $120,000 backhoe, or was the backhoe?
It's about $120,000 for the
Left,
backhoe.
or is that the price of the backhoe?
Yes, total,
So if we pay 60,000 down,
right?
are we leasing
It would go
the backhoe
down.
for 60,000 and that payment would go down?
That payment would go down. That's what I'm saying, is that I just put a spec together, 30,000 down, trading in these two pieces of equipment.
Because that
So-
payment comes up to almost $180,000 over 3 years for a $120,000 backhoe.
Oh, yeah.
I was just
So-
trying to get the math for it.
So if we can put a little more money down, we're gonna, and then it'll be a lot much lower buyout at the end as well, so.
But it's also a full service.
Yeah, that's what I like. What does full service mean?
There's certain
What things doesn't it cover?
running into cars and stuff.
Okay, accidents. But
But
everything
oil,
else,
oil changes, regular maintenance, you know, if we run the tires down into the ground, we're gonna have to buy new tires.
Okay.
But, you know, just everyday maintenance type things.
Do they service it periodically then? Is that what?
Yeah, and that's the thing I think would be good, is that they actually will keep us on task to do that. Not saying our guys don't do a good job of servicing vehicles, but they will have that on their system, and they will make sure that we're getting the oil change when we need to and all those things. So that would be like having another mechanic on hand, which would be nice. I mean, that's just from that standpoint. And then when it's ready to be bought outright, we have a vehicle that's been serviced, you know, all that time. So-
Why is the second one is $2,000 higher, but the payment is so much more, and it's for a longer period of time?
Which one's that? For the
The delivered price for a
4-year lease.
4-year.
delivered for the 4-year?
I mean, if you look at it, you got $122,000 on the second page, or third page. And then on a 4-year lease, it's $5,673.
I didn't bring in, which third page is it?
Well, the one in our
Back in the
packet.
packet,
Yeah, I
breakdown
know,
on the price.
mine are all
It
loose
seems
here.
backwards to me a little bit.
Oh, there.
But I may be off, maybe I'm missing something. Because we're going a longer period of time and the payment is going up, even though the price went up, but not proportionally to what I think the payment is up.
It's a lease. I'm not sure, Steve.
Okay, all right,
I don't know how they calculate a lease on,
Well, both of them are lease prices, correct?
yes, they're both, yes.
Well, if it's
The
like
only-
a car that
Right.
works on residual value, so there's gonna be less residual value when the vehicle's older, so they have to capture that up front.
Right, if we hang on to it longer,
Right.
the less value they'll have in it when we return it.
Yeah, but you're talking over $100,000 more for a $2,000, just to lease it for an additional year at a $2,000 higher price.
Mhm.
The lease will cost you $100,000 more. I think that's way out of proportion.
Mhm.
Where are you getting 100,000?
Yeah.
By taking 5,673 a month times 12 times 4.
That's per year.
That's per year,
That's per year?
yes.
Well, that's pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, because
I wasn't-
per year, you're talking almost $200,000.
Well, you said you figured it out by a month, so I'm looking at this and it says
Well,
payment, month, a year.
well, that's what they gave back, is per year. So
That's what they what?
what they bid on right here is per year. That's what.
Right.
So
So
how
you-
much would our
I
lease?
used this to figure out what was cheaper per month, just so there was a
I
comparison.
apologize, I got
Yeah.
mixed up. I was thinking we were paying that much a month
No.
for this backhoe to get
No,
paid off.
No, that would be bad.
Yeah,
that'd be-
that's,
$5,600 a year for full service doesn't seem.
no, neither one of them seem bad
Right,
now.
no.
No, it's not that bad.
No, if
We can,
you were paying that much a month, you'd
And
pay
how much
almost
work do we need for that
$180,000
backhoe now?
the first year.
it's shot.
No, I mean, how much do you have? that
Oh,
need that
we have
backhoe
work
now?
out there, yeah, that needs to be done. Yeah, we have water lines that need to be,
Are you hiring people to do that, and that would save us?
they've
money?
been renting some things and getting a little done, but we need this.
So what are you recommending for the commission?
My recommendation is, you know, I've talked to Cat about this, and they said they would get, they have the machine on site up in Marquette.
New?
It's new, yeah.
Okay.
And we would have to get an ACS hitch, is the type of hitch we use for the buckets and stuff. So this actually could be used for a snow thrower and a backup too. Okay, so this could be, it's a more multi-purpose than our other one was.
Which one's the cat one, the first one?
Yeah, it's, well, I don't know, it says cat right on the bottom, the Fabric cat.
Yeah. it's
So
four-
when you say on the
420
bottom
up to-
here, though, to award the lease to them, but to negotiate the final lease purchase contract, does
Yes,
that mean whether to pick the 3 or 4 year, or negotiate the price
we
even
have,
further?
of the $250,000, we have a little bit left of that $250,000. And we might just say we want to use whatever's remaining on that and put it towards this and get a lower price. We might go to a 5 or a 6-year lease potentially.
But you would not use any more than the 57,000 that's left in there?
Right, yeah, when I put this out to bid, I didn't know what that number was. I mean, I was just guessing, I just said 30, I knew that was probably safe, but I didn't know for sure.
Which one of the prices, the cat one?
Fab Cat.
Both of them
Both of
are.
them.
Those are
It's
both,
different lease terms or.
Oh, where are they coming, which one's locally? You said there was one from Escanaba.
Nortrax.
That's on this
That's on the
grid.
second page on that.
Oh. Are they,
Nortrax was interesting because they offered zero money for 3 years, but when you add it up, it really was more in the end. So to get it, but they offered a really
so they're not even close then?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I think the cat is a good overall deal for Gladstone. I think that's in the end, if you're going to own it, I think the cat is the better way to go.
How do the guys that are gonna be running this equipment feel about that, going from a case to a cat?
Oh, they were fine with it. Yeah, they actually had a demo down here of a cat, and
So they tried it?
Yeah, they tried it. Yeah, they're fine with it. I can tell you, they'll be happy with Tonka truck doing that. They're ready
As
for.
long as it works,
Yeah, they want something that'll work, and so I would recommend we go with the cat and talk about.
Staying on equipment though, in another correspondence that filled us all in on with the other, what was it, John Deere?
The John Deere. Oh yes.
Pins or?
Yep. Yep.
So that, with that cost in mind, that repair cost, should we consider, is that money gonna have to come out of the equipment fund for that repair?
Yeah, we could use part of that 57 for this.
Maybe we should hold back and not
That's
use the whole
fine.
57, so we're not going over on that unexpected repair and still,
Yep,
if we gotta hold back, we're anticipating they'd give you an estimate about
yep,
10,000 to repair that,
yep.
so that we could still stay under that 57 and use it for this repair is what I
Yeah,
was.
that's why I wanted
hoping
to
to
talk
do.
to you here
Yeah.
tonight, because there were some other things going on, and we have a bid that I think is fair, but we
I
have
have no
some
problem
other needs.
spending the allocated amount to get the lease
Mhm.
cost down, but knock out that other unexpected repair
Yeah, it
with
actually,
that remaining fund.
yeah, and that loader, we had the center pins go out, and so it's kind of the middle part of it, it's where it pivots, and that thing was just going in all directions. That loader, I was talking to Tiger today too, and that loader needs brakes all the way around.
What's the age of that piece of equipment?
Oh, boy. It's not new. I mean, it's 10 years old anyways. I mean, I don't know the exact offhand. 2005, I'm just guessing. Something like that.
So these lease figures, that's for the same piece of equipment, if we go 4 years or 5 years, that's the price per year. 5,000 it goes up because we're using it for an extra year, and 4,000 if it goes down, and that's what $60,000 down on it?
No, that's
30.
with 30,000 cash and trading in a dresser
Well, that's
loader.
30,000 too. I mean, that's,
Yeah,
correct?
whatever that comes out
It-
to be.
Well, 17 and 13 is what it's listed.
Okay,
So that would be 30,000 taken off the total price,
okay, yeah,
correct?
yes. So, if I'm following you,
Well, I'm trying to get what, if we trade in the two vehicles
yep,
and we put 30,000 down,
yep,
we're gonna be leasing this brand-new piece of equipment for either 3 years or 4 years,
correct.
and the lease amount the total amount will be in the $60,000 range then.
Yes, whatever the monthly amount was. So, well, the total at the
The,
end,
the cost of the loader would be, I mean, of the backhoe would be right around 60-some thousand.
67,000 for the 3-year lease, 71 for the 4-year lease. If you went 3 or the 4, that's what this breakdown. I tried to make it so I could understand it best I could.
I'm amazed at how reasonable that is, because I buy a lot of real expensive equipment and lease it, and it's, that's why I wasn't out of the realm when I said 5,000 a month. That ain't bad. You know, when you buy a
Oh.
real expensive piece of equipment, but
Yeah.
what we're paying now, I think is, we need it.
1,500 a month,
For what?
4-year lease.
Yeah.
So
That's even
anyways,
better yet.
so that's what I have with the backhoe.
So the commission knows the fleet will be, instead of having 2 loaders and a backhoe, we'll have a bigger backhoe that's loader with better loader capability.
Yep.
Along with our other loaders.
Yes.
So it will be one piece of equipment,
Yep.
smaller, but
With more capacity with newer stuff.
yeah, and the new backhoe will be,
Yeah.
usually the backhoe, you park it and it sits all winter long, and now you'll be using it year round.
Yeah, the dresser is old. I mean, that thing's been around the block. I mean, it's sometimes you just have to, those things need to go away, I think, and it's at that time for it. The John Deere is a little better machine. We need to put a little money into it, to keep it going. I mean, that's
It's worth keeping.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, that's what runs our snow blower. I mean, that's in the wintertime, that's our go-to thing. So, yeah, we need to get it fixed up, and so I appreciate your take on that about using some of that money to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, those are kind of unexpected things. So,
Well, I'd like to see us go with that 4-year lease myself, because you're going to have it for 4 years. I mean, what do you think of that? I mean,
yeah, that's if you were to go with the 3 or 4, I'd go with the 4 from the CAT. That's what I would do. That's what all the Tiger thought, Barry thought, Skip thought.
because your buyout
all
is
the guys.
even less than too. If you look at that, it's still,
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot less, but it's still.
Yeah.
But you have it for 4 years in use, and that's with the service agreement for 4 years too,
Yeah.
instead of 3.
Yep.
That's the other thing I'm looking at, because service could be very expensive at times.
Yeah, I ran this through all the guys. I mean, they're the ones operating it, I mean, they've been in the loop on all of this. I've asked them what they felt about it, and they all came down to the 4-year CAT. That's what they felt.
So
as well.
if I made a motion to go with the 4-year lease from who?
It's Fabic CAT.
Fabcat?
Yeah.
Well, I'll move that we go with the 4-year lease with this, the service agreement, everything we talked about from Fabcat,
Fabic CAT.
Fabicat, for the backhoe, along with the 30. Do we want to go 30,000 down? Does that sound reasonable, or we going to go less?
I would go more.
Well, I hate to spend too much in case something pops in and we need money for something. This looks
Right.
good to me. This
Right.
looks good. I
But
would
if we
go.
could take a little bit off the top and still have
Yeah,
some
but you can add to
reserve.
that anytime you want, right?
Yeah, I don't know how that,
No.
I don't think
No.
it's going to make a dent
Well,
on there.
Calculate those based on what you put.
We only have 55,000 there. We don't know what else
57,
might come
yeah,
down. So I
57,000.
would recommend that we go with what you said there, the $30,000 down and the 96 case backhoe and the 95 dresser loader traded in at a value of 30,000.
Do you have a support?
Not yet.
I just had one other question for
Go
Mark.
ahead.
Wait, well, we
Discussion.
have a motion,
You can,
Right.
so
you can,
why don't we just
Okay.
get a second and then,
yeah, because you can
Okay.
vote it down.
Okay, I'll support.
okay. We got a motion
Okay.
by
No, we can-
Commissioner View and support by Commissioner Mantala to award the lease to Fabic Cap. Okay, now we can go on.
You had said you inquired with them about an even longer lease.
Mhm.
Is that still in the works, and what's,
Well, I didn't want to do anything until I talked to
Okay.
you. You were at that point to talk about
Okay.
what the commission felt about going forward with it, so.
okay. I have no problem. I mean, with the full service,
Yeah, that's
service
huge.
lease and that yearly rate, I mean, that looks like it'll serve us well. I'm just wondering if 6 year, you mentioned 7 years,
See what it does.
if we could get that cost down,
Mhm.
that yearly cost down and still have a good piece of equipment throughout the service life of it. Are they working on that?
Oh, until I met
You
tonight,
never got it,
I
okay,
just wanted to
okay.
talk to you, because
So-
I figured
Okay.
there's gonna be some thoughts, just go forward with
Okay.
what you have and be done with it.
Well,
and-
well, my-
I was gonna say, if you want to amend the motion to,
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
to explore the 6-year one.
And if,
I'll amend my motion for you to get the figures for what Commissioner Mantala is talking about, a 6-year.
Okay.
But definitely to go with something.
Yes.
But should we give him the option? Would that be
Yeah, have their whole group.
your
Look
group
at
to
that.
have the option to see what would be best? Because I'm
Sure.
satisfied with what I originally
Yeah.
gave, and if something comes better
Yeah.
with the amendment, we'll let staff decide.
But it needs to be a full service.
right,
Yeah,
that's
full-
the whole-
yeah.
Same
all in.
thing throughout
Yeah.
the 6
The
years.
total term.
I see where
Yeah.
you're getting at now.
Yeah.
He would, he said that regardless if we came back and asked for that, he would, if there was authorization to go ahead with a lease with them, work with them, then he would get us that as soon as he could.
Okay.
We need to get a hitch changed out, the ACS hitch, but
Yeah.
outside of that,
Yeah,
so
you
we'll
said-
get it in 30 days. It's
For the
gonna
parade?
What's that?
For the parade?
Yeah,
Yeah.
30 days.
All right, any?
No, so that amendment is on now, that staff can look at the 6-year lease on it.
We can talk about it at the next meeting or something.
Well, I'd like you to get it
Or
going.
just
if
go
you need
for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they say,
I kind of think we got it so that if we voted in, that you would
Okay.
be able to move forward with it either 4 years or 6
Yeah.
years at your discretion.
Eric could, do that too.
right,
Yeah.
Commissioner Mantala, are you okay with the amendment?
Yes, that's
We
what I was
can move
gonna-
forward with a 6-year lease.
Yes, if it's,
We're going to get the
it's-
4-year, but if they're going to decide at their
Correct.
discretion on the 6-year.
yes.
Boy, it's all mixed up, eh?
And it'll be with the 30,000?
I think I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
wanna keep-
Sorry,
support
Vicky.
the 30,000.
You want to read what
Read
it is?
back.
Yeah.
I have a motion for a 4-year lease with service agreement from Babbitt Cat. $30,000 down with a trade-in value from 2 vehicles of $30,000. Amended to check on a 6-year lease and have the equipment committee review to decide which term is better, 4 or 6 years. Seconded by Commissioner Mantala.
Yep, and they can move
Yep.
forward with it, yep.
Yep. Okay, any more discussion on that?
It was a lot.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the delinquent miscellaneous invoices.
Before you is a listing of the delinquent miscellaneous invoices. Usually this isn't a large listing, and it just covers, miscellaneous invoices from pump sewage, from basement, grass mowing, snow removal, code violation. All of these people did receive letters in the middle of May notifying them that they were slated to go off to taxes if they weren't paid by the middle of June. And these were the handful that we didn't receive payment from.
What was that pump sewage from? I mean,
That-
how do you get that? I mean,
Our insurance company paid this whole, this was a insurance case, and they turned it in. What happened was, the company that pumped out the sewage gave her an invoice, and then they mailed the invoice to us, and I paid the bill.
okay.
And our insurance company gave her the money for what we paid, and so she owes us the money back.
Okay, so the sewage was covered, but
Yeah,
the wrong person got the money.
yeah, we paid for it.
So we need to be reimbursed.
We need to
is what
be
that-
reimbursed.
Okay, I was just worried if.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. And what about the code violation? Is that something specific for,
I'm not exactly sure what code was violated.
I mean, because you put grass and snow removal, I was just
Mhm.
curious on.
What the code was, I'm not sure.
Okay, I guess it doesn't matter that much, but.
So what we're looking for is just authorization to assess these miscellaneous invoices to the summer 2017 tax bills.
I'd make that motion.
I'll support it.
All right, motion by Commissioner Mantala, support by Commissioner Thompson to access the miscellaneous invoices of the summer 2017 tax bill. Any discussion?
Well, I'd just like to say, it ain't very many. And all of these people are aware of this, and this is exactly how we're supposed to do this, so that we pay for what's due the city. Okay.
I talked to the people involved with the sewer backup. I mean, we put a lot of work into making sure they got everything cleaned up, and our insurance company paid for it. And then I sent her copies of the invoices, and she's in agreement that she does owe the money, but she's from Florida.
Well, the reason I ask is because it's over $100 in penalties, and if she already has the money and is willing to agree to pay, we've already, added extra onto it, so.
And she understands that.
She understands that.
Okay.
All right, any more discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is delinquent utility bills off the taxes.
These are the delinquent utilities slated to go off taxes, just like the miscellaneous invoices. They all did receive letters notifying them in the middle of June with the due date, the letters went out in May with the due date in the middle of June. And of course, we do accept payments right up to today before the meeting. So there are a couple that did come off of this listing, just a handful, not a lot.
Which ones?
Patty, do you know which ones came off the listing?
I know the top two did.
The top two?
Top two did, they were paid today. We had, there's been about 4 of them paid. I have the list right in front of me. Of course, the little teeny one, and the bigger one. The top two came off. Account number 2198 came off. Account number 3246 came off. Account number 3415 came off. And account number 4333 came off.
So, like I said, there's just a handful that paid. And if you compare the summer of 2016, the last page there, to what we are looking to write off to taxes for this summer 2017, we're pretty much right where we should be.
Do we send, when we send letters out for delinquent, do we send it to landlords? Like,
To the property owner,
okay, now do we do the mail or
through the mail, correct.
on the first,
They go out mid-May,
mid-May? But-
mid-May, and I look in tax to see who the property owner is as of that point in time, and that's who the letter goes out to.
And we do that right away when they're delinquent or after?
For our off taxes,
No,
we do it
I mean,
Twice a year.
once they become, at one point, once they miss their payment,
The person who is in the residence, who is paying the bill, gets the past due notice.
okay. And and that's what our ordinance says?
Yeah, that's what we do, is the person in the residence gets the past due notice.
But is that what our code says?
Yeah, but we have, the landlords have options to be notified and to,
A landlord has an option. If a landlord has a lease on file, he does not have an option. A lease on file means we cannot place on their property taxes.
right.
They have no right to know what's going on with that account because they're not held accountable. If they wish to receive a notification of past due, then they have to turn that in writing to this office.
Well, that's what I mean, there is,
There are procedures, correct?
Where's that written? Where's that policy written? I'd love to see it.
It's called invasion of privacy.
Here's the city's ordinance. The notice will be mailed first class to the customer's billing address and landlord if
If
applicable.
applicable. And if applicable
Very
means
simple.
in writing with a signature from the tenant. Same thing with the leases,
So
in writing.
if I pull up our utility policy, that's what it says in our utility policy?
Our utility policy,
Mhm.
all it says is about landlords is lien waivers.
it says
So
what?
it's not addressed.
Well, I'm a landlord, I just thought that if I rent to somebody, I could fill out paperwork saying that I'm not responsible
Correct?
for my tenant's
Correct.
power,
Right.
and then I don't have any notification if it gets up, because I'm not gonna ever be responsible for paying it. So that's a pretty good thing for landlords to know.
Correct.
That's something that they can
I'm
protect themselves.
I'm just wondering how you would know that, though. If I go on the city's website and pull up the utility policy.
I think
as
it's
a-
on there.
As a
It's on
landlord.
there about landlords, correct.
Okay, so,
And about, we actually have a section on there about lien waivers.
Yeah, and you've given it to the landlord association, so I mean, it's been out there, and that's something new for like 3-4 years ago you came up with that, right?
About 4 years ago is when we really started taking in the leases. I actually have 2 file drawers full of them.
Yep.
One of the ones that I hope was removed, I was responsible for.
It is.
It is.
Sean Hamel, they paid it. They did
Yeah.
not have a lien waiver. I never received any notification.
And they paid it.
Yeah, they paid it. But I never
They paid it.
received any notification of them being,
Turn something into me in writing.
So-
There's nothing that says we need to turn something.
So
in.
what we
We're
are-
a landlord, it's behind, we need to be notified.
it says.
So what we are looking to do here is, staff recommendation is to assess the delinquent utilities to the summer 2017 taxes accordingly.
And that number's gonna come down by the 5 accounts that were paid off,
Correct.
correct?
Yeah, I've already had them removed from mine.
Okay, so we're looking at less than that 20,600.
Correct.
Where you get 20,000.
Second page.
On the next page.
Of that year.
Oh, okay.
So you don't even have an ordinance.
Mayor,
in
could
place
you,
making this
could
legal.
there's,
All right, you guys had your chance during public comment. Now it's ours.
You've got to be told the truth from the central office, though, too.
So do you know the actual number that we'd be putting the taxes in with those 5 accounts?
I'll be right back. My computer's out.
She's checking on that. Those first 2 were pretty large, or what, some of the bigger ones.
Well,
Not the biggest
my
ones.
concern is how can they get so large? You know, some of them over
Because-
2,000.
we weren't allowed to shut off. in
Because
the
of the,
wintertime.
we didn't sign up for leaf, so they
Yeah.
gotta.
but the,
$2,215.67, not counting 10% penalty.
But-
That's just straight utilities.
leaf is only electric, right?
Yeah.
We can still shut water, we can still shut water,
Yes,
wastewater off.
Garbage.
We can shut all that off
Yep.
anytime we want.
Mm-hmm. From what I read.
Well, water's a little
But,
tricky though.
yeah,
But I'll get into that when we do mine.
Mhm.
So I'm sorry, what was the total, 19,000?
19,200
Anybody write it down?
16 cents.
Something in 16 cents. I wrote 260. I would make a motion to write that amount on the delinquent accounts to assess that to the summer 2017 tax bills accordingly.
I hear support. All right, I don't hear a support. So it dies, lack of
I would like to look into the policy myself.
Yeah,
If there's some discretion, some reason that the landlords aren't getting this stuff on time, I mean, I can understand where these gentlemen are coming from. If it's not clear and obvious, which it really should be, in my opinion, for it to come back on these guys and not be warned, and I'm not saying they weren't, I don't know. I'm just saying, from what he's read out of the charter, if that's the way it reads in the charter, then something needs to be addressed and it needs to be rewritten and corrected.
We do have a motion from the last meeting where we're going to send this whole thing to the utility committee, right? That was the motion you made to address this whole policy?
Well, that was
Utilities
for
policy?
the dump passes.
Oh,
but
that was for the dump.
This should be looked at, and we got to verify that we're doing things by the book, whether it's even legal the way
Are
we're
we
doing it.
doing stuff by the book? I mean, he read something different than what we're trying to do here. Which one is, because Patty, you should know.
Yeah, you can do it twice a year. You look back over 6 months.
But what was the date with the May 1st?
The
Yeah.
May ones are from when we,
That's,
mid-November is our cutoff for winter taxes. So anything prior to mid-November would fall for the winter taxes. Mid-May, that's our 6-month period for the summer taxes. So you look at a 6-month period of time snapshot.
How does that work with utility bills then if John Smith walked in and said, I want to see the utility bill for Paul Anderson? Can you dig that up for him, or is there something that protects?
They're partial with new changes in FOIA law. I can show you within an EIS system that I have in our billing. I can show you what his bills were monthly, not what his balance is, not what his payments are, not what his mailing address is. I can show you the other things, just what the bills ran every month. Not what they paid, not what their running balance is, or their mailing address. Because in tax, it will show the property address. You can do that,
What
that's
they
public.
paid or what they were charged?
What they were charged.
I want to
Monthly bills, and everything else would be redacted off of it.
I want to read about this. What do I look forward to read? If I wanted to read the law,
If you wanted to read it,
what he,
is it like, act whatever of
Wow.
whatever? Or,
it must be ordinance.
there's numerous places. There's the fair billing practices, which I have on my computer, and I can print you out a copy or email it to you.
I want
Yeah,
to look at it
I think we all
online
should.
so I can.
Then all the ordinances in our charter are on our website.
Yeah.
Yep, I know where those are. I was just wondering where the.
Would these push to winter taxes then?
Excuse me?
When does this have to be assessed and, this would have to be done now to be on the summer
Yeah,
tax bills?
tomorrow.
So it would be,
Tomorrow morning you can go on to the
Okay.
summer property taxes.
okay. What, on the second page there, you have a percentage that's landlord.
Oh, that's just showing, I just do percentages so that you can see out of the 100% what the breakdown is between ones that we've already shut off, ones that are vacant homes or, that people have left or taken over by banks.
So
or those
18,
types of things.
$2,964 is the amount that
It was
a
owned by
landlord?
landlords.
No, a landlord
back to
means
the
it was a
landlords.
landlord account.
It was
It went back
account.
to- A landlord
Okay.
account.
18%.
Okay, 18%, gotcha.
You'll see former tenants, former
Oh,
owners. as
48%.
its own. The
Previous.
landlord accounts, no, that's an account that was in a landlord's name that they didn't pay.
I have one more question. Is the electricity shut off for some of these or no?
Look over on the side and you'll see where it says it was shut off.
Where?
In
Very
the
Over on this
notes,
column, the
you'll see-
Fourth row
Fine
down,
print.
second sheet.
All the way over. Over here.
Oh, there's
I
one.
don't
See
see.
down at the bottom what the total number is too for inflation.
Oh,
There's a couple like midway down.
well, what about the ones that owe over 2,000 and they're not in shutdown?
Because they skipped out. Some of them are former accounts, and that's the reason for the money. So that this is-
I mean, the owner,
This isn't happening.
the owner of these properties that owe that much skipped out?
No, some of the owners passed away.
So is that money gonna be able to do we shut the electricity off?
It goes into, like financial institutions' name, you know,
So they're gonna pay?
it'll go on the property taxes, it'll be paid through that way, yes.
Okay.
We've had several where the owners have passed away, and the banks are in process of repossession. We've got a couple of them that are on there with that, banks have contacted me, but they haven't taken possession yet, and they're aware that there is this to be placed off on the property taxes. And we normally get a couple of those a year.
So if a landlord brings in a lease, which puts the utilities in the tenant's name, and the tenant is responsible for it, the landlord can't come in and check if he's paying his bills?
But it can't be billed back to the landlord either.
Right.
It's a lease plus a lien waiver,
Correct.
Yeah.
and then they're not held responsible. 100% agree with that, too.
Okay, what needs to be changed about putting these off?
You're asking me personally?
Yeah,
On or before May 31st, part of the city ordinance, not being notified when it becomes delinquent until it's about to go on taxes, again, part of the city ordinance.
And the city ordinance was made when they tax once a year, and it's been updated since then about
It needs to be
taxes once a
changed.
year.
And it says notified within 10 days, that's what I read earlier. That came right off the website.
But
There's
if-
some dated policy, and it's always been done this way. It doesn't mean it's right, it's dated, it needs to be updated.
Right,
We
I
can't
agree
keep
with
going
you.
forward with it either.
Right, and we're in process of updating all of our ordinances.
Because I would have done things different. Now, I get the bill in or the letter in the mail that says, hey, it's going on your taxes. A day late and $1 short for me. I know on day 10, I can apply different pressures to my tenants.
And you also know about the lien waivers.
That's not the point.
Yes,
The point
it
is.
is.
All right, let's stop the back and forth on that.
It's just, we do have protections out there available. You
And
just,
policies
do a bill
that need to be
yourself.
followed.
All right. Anyone want to make a motion?
I would say the majority of them are just people who have left or persons who have passed away is what the majority is on there.
Let me ask you, if we don't approve to put these forward as taxes in the summer, will they apply to the winter taxes then? So,
Too old.
so they just sit there?
So they just sit there and then we have to raise our rates because we have to write this stuff all off. That's one of the bad
Well,
ones.
see,
So this has to be done tomorrow? I mean, by tomorrow?
Yes, for Vicki to get it on the tax roll, yes.
I think we should have.
Still getting paid at the time.
No, it just seems like a last minute thing for.
Yeah, is
when
there a
there's
reason?
opposition,
I was
you know.
going to say, is there a reason why we wait to the last second to do this?
Oh,
That's
wait.
your guys' choice.
We give them every opportunity to pay up until before they have to go off to taxes.
Which is good. But for us to make a decision at the last minute with all
Kind of
this.
waiting till the last minute to put them off onto taxes, but you're giving them every opportunity to pay up until the very last minute, so.
But we have him saying he wasn't notified until the day before.
No, I wasn't notified until that letter went out in May. And that's what I'm saying, I think it's May, last month.
May.
Mid-May.
Mid-May. I am notified that there's $900 due. What I'm saying is, that didn't happen overnight. If I was notified 8 months ago, 6 months ago, I can apply different pressures to make sure this is taken care of.
But then that's where you're saying it falls into the privacy or the,
Right,
Yeah,
because
how
this
can you do
person
that?
would be going out and getting assistance or any number of things to pay this bill, and then we're,
Well, what,
Well, do we need to clean our policy up so there's more protection for landowners?
I thought I had we may, but
Mhm.
I thought since I was a landlord long ago, and I rented one at a commercial building, and I thought I had a thing down here that if you gave a notice to this business that his power was up, I received the notice. Is that something we can request?
yes.
I mean, I got it at
But
the
I
same
need-
time
but I
he
need the
did. And
request.
like he said, I put pressure on him and he came and
Yeah,
paid it.
that's what she said earlier. If she receives notification in writing, she can release that information to the landlord.
but is that in our policy though? Does he know this?
How would you know that?
How would you know that?
Because I looked at our utility
Until
policy.
it's already too late,
I looked at
you're
our,
getting taxes thrown on your, you're getting bad utilities thrown on your taxes before you find that out.
I looked at our policy and then I read the Public Service Commission Act or whatever, and there was things in there that I thought, oh my God, we should be doing this stuff. And then I found out that we were doing it, but it wasn't in the policy where I could see it. It was in another policy that I couldn't see. So, I thought to myself, our policy should be so transparent and so readily available on the website that nobody should have any questions. You should be able to read and understand exactly what goes on, and I don't see it. It's not that way.
That's why it's ever evolving. Our
Well, it needs to,
utility policy is
it needs to
ever
like
evolving.
evolve quicker somehow.
So
You know.
in the end here, we're gonna lose this $19,000 if we don't make action tonight. Is that correct?
Correct.
And, well, I'm gonna move that I have to do it. I can't, our city can't afford, these people owe what's on here. It may not have been done right, so I got mixed emotions on this, but I'm gonna make a motion again that we put the delinquent utility bills off to taxes under Chapter 8, Section 12 of the city charter.
Would you be okay with amending it to say, have the utility policy be looked at?
I
And-
think we can bring that up next. You mean to be looked at, not to pass this?
No, throw it right in there with it.
Throw it in there.
Throw it in
Okay.
with it.
All right, well, add Jay's amendment on to there. I'll support that. No, I agree with you. We need to get it clarified so that these people, that we know and the people can know. So, how do you want to word it?
I don't know how.
All right, to go over the utility policy, to get it updated, put it that way, for this lien on property off the taxes. That's the way I'll put it.
All right, I'll support that. All right, motion by Commissioner View, support by Mayor Bostwick to send this excess delinquent utilities at the summer 2017 tax bills with the utility bill looking at it.
Are we open for discussion then?
Yep.
So you're gonna have the utility billing department look at the policy, or the utility
Committee.
Okay,
It's
okay,
yeah, it's the
okay. I
committee.
just want that to be.
It's
Yeah,
the-
that's so bad.
Originally, we had it so the landlord was in charge of his tenants, and he could keep track of where they are and put the pressures they need be. But there were some landlords that, I got burned on one too. I have,
So have I.
and there was, and so we were pushed, not pushed, but we were encouraged to look at doing the lease arrangement. So that's why we went into the lease arrangement. This is almost, you want us to go back to the landlords being responsible?
No, I just
No.
think it needs to be transparent and very clear to the landlord what their options are. If there's an option for him to write a letter to say, hey, I want to be
6
kept
months ago.
abreast of what's going on here so I don't get $1,000 bill thrown on my lien later on, he should know that before he gets to that point where it's being assessed to his taxes.
Why should you have to request it? What's the difference? If it's given or requested, I mean, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't make a difference, right?
Is this, if he signs a lease?
Whether,
No,
Whether he signs a lease or
I'm
not.
talking about notification, you know. If
Okay.
he can get notification and if he requests it in writing, what's the difference if he doesn't request and we just give it to him? Then nobody can say that they didn't get it.
Maybe the maybe the new policy will talk about the property
have to
owner
do
also
that.
getting notified.
well, I think it would be fair. I mean, instead of letting a bill run up to $1,500 or $2,000 and then telling the guy a month beforehand that it has to be paid or it's going on his taxes is a little excessive. That's just my opinion.
We could definitely, I agree, we could clarify the language.
I just hate to see somebody
And as
pay
long
for
as-
something that wasn't theirs, you know?
Right, all right. Any more discussion on it? All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next up is the leaf.
It's not a financial issue, it's a policy issue.
I understand.
What's more important, policy or finance?
All right, we're moved on. Leaf?
Yes, this is our annual, this meeting in June, we have to make the decision of whether to go be a member of the government program, which can charge each utility bill an additional $1. And that additional $1 helps fund the agencies that are out there that can help people with their utility bills, and it also gives us the option, if they don't pay their bills or go searching for assistance, we can shut their power off. Patty is here if you have any questions. She is the expert on low-income energy assistance fund.
Well, Steve asked some questions before, and so far, and this is only, I only looked at since November 1st, when the winter moratorium went into effect. We have so far received over $60,000 worth of assistance for our electric customers. There is still more that is coming in that I'm awaiting the determinations on. It's now reached the point where if they don't have it in, that there isn't going to be any more assistance available until November again, when this goes in.
This was for last winter, 66,000.
60,000, yeah, since November 1st, correct.
60,000 of revenue came into the city because of the leaf policy.
That
No.
paid delinquent utilities,
Assistance money, though.
assistance.
Without,
Just
without
leaf?
leaf, without
Leave.
Just assistance relief, yes. These are bills that could potentially have not been paid, but
No,
the
but
assistance.
I guess what I'm saying, I understand that, and I went and talked to some other electric companies in other cities on this, and it's a matter of what's the bottom line? Because
Well-
nobody can be turned down. The low assistant people qualify whether you belong to this program or not, correct?
Well, to give you an idea, 63 accounts have been closed since the winter moratorium went into effect, totaling $22,622.06.
What does that mean?
Uncollected. Of that, 13 accounts cannot be placed off on property taxes, totaling almost $7,100, because it could have been a bankruptcy. It could have been a lien waiver in place, or they could have lived at one of the 2 lower income apartment complexes in which we cannot place off on taxes. So trying to collect that messes with putting their deposit, applying that to the account. So this is even after the deposit has been applied to their account to pay off on it. Of the 622, 12,700 was on this current off-to-tax listing of people who left in the middle of winter or at the end of the winter when it was time that we could shut them off. They left. So in that case, it is then people who have applied for assistance, had a copay they had to make, decided they weren't making the copay, so the assistance monies did not come in that were promised to us by the agencies, because if you do not make your copay in the time allotted by the assistance agency, they will not pay. But we had beautiful weather in February in which we could have shut off, and at other times, which could have alleviated some of this, and alleviated some of the things that Jeff is talking about too, if we could have shut them off. You know, it's currently, I have 9 accounts that have the potential for going off onto the taxes potential, 6 of them are renters of over $5,000. That's just in my current shut-off. And I have over $3,270 of the ones I currently have shut off. That cannot be placed off on the taxes, either due to lien waivers or living in places in which we cannot put off onto taxes.
And we had leaf last year, and you still have all that.
You what?
Did we have leaf last year?
No.
We did not.
So if we had that, then all that would have been,
Well, to give you a comparison, last year in April, when we did have the life, I sent out 340 past due notices. Pretty much our normal amount. For $84,183. This year in April, I sent out 367 notices for $182,729. That's a big difference. You've got a $100,000 difference between charging life and not charging life. I mean, to me,
but they still
it's-
qualify for that. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, but it only covers the electric. You're sitting there with $1,200 you owe. 600 of that is electric. The other 600 is water, wastewater, and garbage. Assistance will not pay
Well, that's
that.
why Commissioner Thompson brought that up. That
But
we-
Laif is only eligible for electric, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
But it allows
if
us to
you
put
can shut
pressure.
off, they're going to pay.
We can put shut-off pressure on them if we have this. And this is what people really care about.
You can put shut-off pressure on them on their electric.
Right. And that's what the people really
We
care
can
about.
shut them off on the other at any time, right?
Yep.
Not necessarily.
You shut the lights
have hot
off,
water
though.
heat in your house, we can't be shutting off your water. You don't have a closed system in which that water's going into your boiler. You have now took away their heat. We can't do that. We currently, as Jeff can attest, have somebody shut off for their water.
Yeah, I was
Which you
shocked.
guys did not know, because they got assistance for their electric. But they still owe on their water. And we have their water shut off. We had another one that we had their water shut off because they got assistance on the electric.
So,
But if they are, a lot of them then, if we can shut off, they'll come in and go, okay, I'm gonna get assistance on my
That's the
electric.
pressure.
So
I'm
it's
paying this on my water.
But in the end, what's the difference in the end when we put the lien on the taxes? All these people not paying, and all of a sudden, because we don't have life or whatever it's called.
Mhm.
Today, we just passed that we put lien on all the property taxes to collect all these back due accounts.
It probably
Well-
would have been a lot less. because
Well, it
we
would have probably been a
been-
lot less, but bottom line, we're gonna get that money anyways.
And we have
Not
So what's-
necessarily.
We
Not
have
necessarily.
7,100 that we can't even put onto the taxes. 7,100 of accounts that closed during that time, that if we would have been able to shut them off, they would have been paying on.
And what's the standard every year, whether you're on this program or not? Is it 7,100, or when you're on it, it goes down
Well,
at 2,000?
if you look on your off the taxes sheet on the year when we did not charge leave, what that amount was that we had to place off on summer taxes,
No, I'm not looking what we're placing off, I'm looking off what we don't get after.
What our losses are?
Yeah, what the losses is.
What are-
What's the bottom line, whether we're in the program or not?
What do we lose? What are our losses?
What's the total loss once we collect all the lien from the taxes? You said 7,100 this year?
no, that's just on the closed accounts. I also have other ones that are shut off that we haven't even looked at for placing off to taxes. That is another, 8,300
Are they going on the taxes the next?
potentially.
Well, see, I don't want that figure. I want the figure, the bottom line.
What is their actual loss?
Can you ballpark a figure?
Our ballpark figure of what we lose, well, like I said,
Above and beyond normal.
above and beyond normal.
Well, if we, not having it compared to having it, there's got to be a balance somewhere of figures.
Do we lose 10 times more without it than we do
Oh,
with it?
at
Or?
least. And I know a lot of you look at it like it's a hidden tax. No, it's not. 98 cents or whatever it is that the MPSC sets this up at, you're gonna pay just the 98 cents. If we continue in the realm we're going in now with these losses, because you can't get the assistance on the sewer and the water and the refuge, those rates are gonna be going up. And you're gonna be paying a lot more than 98 cents a month. You're gonna be paying $3, $4, $5 more to try and cover these losses that we keep having. We're not doing our due diligence to our citizens, to our landlords, to our customers by not charging this. We're just saying, we're gonna wipe our hands of it. We're not gonna look at trying to collect this. They're just gonna skip out and leave by not charging this. I know it doesn't sound
Well,
right.
we
to charge
do
this.
try to collect it.
We do try to collect, but if they leave, like I said, if you live in Thorntree or over in Lakeview, we can't place those off on taxes.
Yeah, but it's just difficult for me to have the ratepayers pay for those that are not responsible.
Right, but would you rather the ratepayers have to start paying $3, $4 more a month on their utility
I think
bills?
we-
Because it's water and sewer and refuge that are losing out on this. Not the electric per se, because they can get the assistance on that. But we shut off somebody's water because their electric's been paid, they leave. And then they leave this large $600, $700 bill sitting there.
Well, if you shut my
Because-
water off, I'll pay my electric out. I mean, I'm just saying, you need all of them services to run your household. So, I mean, there is some pressure in having the option to be able to shut that off in the winter. The thing that I would like to know the most is, do we have that utility rate study yet for our accounts, to see where we are
We
with
had
it?
one last year and the year before. They're
The
doing
electric one
now.
is going on now, though. The water and sewer and I'm gonna add solid waste is not done yet because I haven't started it because we have mandated to get an approved capital improvement plan from water first from DEQ. So I want to have that done because that'll be an intricate part of the cost analysis for the rate study.
That can be expensive to
Yeah.
upgrade. And
Yeah.
I think we need to go with it. We need to go with this leaf because, I mean, that legislation affords us a whole bunch of tools to make it so that we can actually collect this stuff, because otherwise from November 1st to April 1st, you just can't touch it.
Yeah, but what's our losses?
Actually, it's April 15th.
Well, our losses are significant enough. I mean,
We're talking about.
Well,
less-
I don't know that we can even legitimately judge our losses until we have a rate study done on all of these. You don't know where we're at on our rates.
Well, can the
We-
surplus electric
be-
fund
We'd be writing a
Sponsor?
lot less of this off the taxes, though, if we
in
could.
the electric fund surplus that we have built up, pay this for all the residents, since all the residents paid into that for 1 year, and then as we collect the money, replace it back into that
Would have to come out of
surplus.
each individual department, depending on what was latent, whether it was water, wastewater.
No, just the electric fund. This is just for electric. You follow what I'm saying?
I understand that.
We got $2 million some dollars in there or something? Can we?
No, because it's not right.
why
Yeah,
is it-
this whole program is every ratepayer pays $1, which is,
Many cities don't belong to it.
A whole lot of them don't.
and many do.
And there's, no, I read the whole thing. It's
How many
pages.
utility customers do we have in Gladstone?
2,500 some.
Oh, 2,500?
How many utility customers do we have?
How many for electric?
Yeah.
I just did, think, 2,885 meters. Electric accounts that are active currently.
But Jeff, why does
So that's
Delta,
almost-
Elder Delta belong to it? Yeah, it
Elder
is.
Delta belongs to it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of it. The only difference between us and the city is this dance that, let's just throw it on the taxes, which kind of goes against making the right person pay for the bill. This is a different way of doing that. Elder Delta is probably 8-to-1, 80,000 versus 10,000. So we use that leverage of turning them off to get these recent developments at the state level would also be leading us, not that they're gonna force you on leave, but you're not gonna have as many financial gifts from the state if you're not on leave. They're not gonna force you though,
No,
they're gonna force you.
this is a strong arm.
It's a strong arm move. It's
Move.
coming.
But it already is. It already is, because it affords so much protection that you can't hardly collect between November and April.
It's gonna come one way or another.
This just gives us another avenue to try and collect before, I mean, going after property taxes is your absolute last resort that you should do. You should try every single avenue to try and collect it before it gets to that point. And this just gives us another avenue to be able to do that.
Yeah.
To be able to collect.
I've read through it a couple times already, and there are so many things that we can do if we buy into this that we can't do otherwise. We can put people on payment plans, there's all kinds of stuff we can do to and actually, it will help them, because we won't let them get so far in arrears that they just, look at it and give up.
That's the problem,
Just-
to get that.
Well, I like helping the truly needy. It's just that those that take advantage of the system, I just,
It's the difference.
I don't like it either, but
No, I don't like charging and collecting that money either, but we have to look at the overall rate structure of what might happen. to keep
Well,
the
that's what I'm
department
saying.
open.
well, that's why I was hoping that the citizens have paid enough in there for 1 year, we can pay this.
But do we eat that up and then next year we're just gonna have to do it
Well,
anyway?
we're not gonna eat it up. They have already paid into
No,
it.
I know.
But one of the good things when you charge value is also having customers take charge of their own accounts, husband their own money, and have the consequences of not paying, that your power will be shut off. It does encourage people. Otherwise, we get them, they will not pay all winter long. Yes, exactly, they do. They hide behind it, and that's not what we want. You're losing your steady stream of income coming in, and if you are just taking money from the fund balance of the electric department, you're doing the same thing.
You're still taking it from the people who paid.
So it's not a tax.
It is not a
It's a-
tax, no. It
No.
actually doesn't even get the sales tax put on it. It goes directly to the
What is
state.
it? It's just
It's a
a,
pub-
what
it's
what are we
public ed.
telling our citizens we're charging them for?
it's a fee is what it is.
An additional fee for those that won't pay their bill.
Right, but it's not a tax. It's a state sanctioned, it's something that the state came up with for helping on their budgets.
Yeah, there's $50 million in it.
Keeps people from heating their house with electric when their gas gets shut off, too.
Yeah.
That was happening. I mean, there's other people, if Fesky's on leave, and I've got a tenant, not my tenants, hopefully, usually normally, go move to Gladstone if you guys aren't on it. They know they can harbor for it.
Right.
There's nothing they can do, and they'll jump.
Yeah,
Buy
and-
electric heaters, they'll get electric heaters, and you'll see
And then I don't-
their electric
I know
bills.
it's
Yeah. It's,
No,
I mean,
That's changing.
it's evident in what happened in 1 year. I mean, this changed by $100,000. So people have to be watching this.
But the bottom line, I didn't know yet, but I'll move that we go with the Public Act 94, the Low Energy Assistant Fund of, what is it, 98 cents, or up to $1 a month.
It's set by the MPSC in July.
Okay, whatever the rate is, up to $1 a month.
I'll support.
I'd
All
like
right.
to correct you, though. It's Public Act 95, not 94.
What did I say?
94.
I don't know what 94 is.
I'm dyslexic. I had a 1 in my mind and I took it off of there.
All right, motion by Commissioner View, support by Commissioner Thompson to opt in on PA 95. Any more discussion?
Yeah, the only thing I want to say, I've been really against this because I think it's a hidden tax. Somehow I do, I just believe that we're making other people pay for it. But I want to thank the commission for convincing me, Patty, on where I think this will be a very beneficial revenue, not losses, but neutral, that we can collect at a time. And I'd like to really look at it in depth from this year to next year to see if that it's really doing what it's supposed to be doing for our community and our citizens.
All right,
I agree with you. I don't like it either, but it's not always,
I have to
you
say
don't
that.
always get to do what you like, so.
No, I changed my
Unfortunately.
position. You guys are good.
all right, any more discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, roll call.
Thank you, guys.
Commissioner Phelan,
No.
Commissioner Mantala,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner View,
Yes.
and Mayor Bostwick.
Yes. All right, motion is approved. Thank you. All right, next up is pipe bids.
This is actually the pipe bid for the OSF project, which we already put the pipe in the ground for. So we took the pipe from the other project we were doing this year because OSF got pushed and put that pipe in for this, and so we're reordering that pipe that we ordered late last year. See the 3 bids we received. Aetna Supply is right around 11,000. Low bid HD Supply 11,486. UP Concrete was 11,529. I left this sort of open because in past different city managers have had a local bid rider anywhere from 10% down to 5%. This is UP Pipe's bid is 4.8% higher. That's about $500 more than Aetna Supply, but they're local.
Does this include freight?
Or-
Freight?
Yes, this is delivered to site. So
I always like the local bid when they're so close.
Yeah.
Myself, personal.
I just-
Just out of curiosity, where's that HD supply out
HD Supply is out. Well, the office that we deal with is out of Green Bay. It's Home Depot actually owns them. They're a national company. Aetna Supply is out of Grand Rapids. They have office up in Marquette now.
How come someone so far away would be less?
$500 is not very much on a pipe bid. I mean, it's just-
No,
that's
no.
just they might
But that's
be,
shipping too for them.
yeah.
Shipping's gotta be like $500-700. Trucker to come up here.
Yep.
What's our policy on bidding like this, as far as the low bid?
I did everything according to policy, but as far as low bid, the city has the right to accept or reject any and all bids.
Or what have we usually done? Do we go with the low bid, basically?
On pipe bids, UP Pipe, we've taken them when they were higher before. More than once. It depends on, how much higher, if it's a percentage, because you look at it, or there's a number of people from Gladstone that work there, and the owner lives in Gladstone, and they own a concrete plant here in town.
It's nice.
There's nothing in the purchasing policy. It's always been sort of a city manager call.
It'd be nice to keep the money in the local community.
So I work with these guys all the time, so I'm putting the pressure on you guys.
Well, it says here, water department recommends low bid.
What's the difference? You said under 4% or 4%?
4.8%.
And I always fluctuate 5% one way or the other. I don't have a problem when it's local like that, so.
$500. I'd make a motion to purchase the pipe from UP Concrete.
Support.
All right, motion by Commissioner Mantala, support by Commissioner View to recommend from UP Concrete to get it from for $11,529.06.
Yes.
Any discussion? I think it's also good that we go with someone local.
When they're that close.
Yes, especially when it's that close. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next is a DDA facade request for Dairy Flow.
Good evening, Commission. Before you, you have a facade request for the Dairy Flow. On May 9th, the DDA approved one facade request for that location. The thing that's a little bit different that you'll see on the contract with this proposal as compared to some of the other ones, all of the work that was proposed was not, we didn't need a licensed contractor to do any of the work. So on this project, much of the expenses will be reimbursed back to the owner. And so the wording on the contract just reads a little bit different than normal. So the owner will have to provide receipts and invoices for the materials that we're reimbursing for. So that's the only thing that's a little bit different. Any questions on it? It's going to get a whole new look. He's putting
Yeah. Why wouldn't we need a licensed contractor on it?
just the type of work that's being done, painting, window screens, and awning. There's not anything that triggers a building permit or triggers a licensed contractor.
With the lighting within the sign.
That is just replacing the cans and the lights. And if it, I think he has an electrical person working on it, but it doesn't require any permit from the city or from the county like we would traditionally do.
Even on a commercial
building?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he's just
Yeah,
replacing. I don't know. I think he's just replacing the.
I think he's getting the LED inserts that go on the
Yeah.
cans.
It's
Oh.
not.
Oh, he's not replacing the wiring
Right.
fixture.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Eric.
I got you. I thought he was taking.
Brett just told me about those.
I thought he was pulling out the entire fixture and
No.
wiring new housings.
So anyway, that's the only reason that's a little bit different. Oh, I was going to tell you, he's putting an awning out on the side facing towards us and moving some tables out. He's already had the tables out most of the summer, so he's encouraging some, if it stops raining, encouraging people to, sit outside and enjoy the weather. And hopefully it picks up a little bit for him. He said his business this year has been really good despite the weather. The Gus Macker was a big hit for him, he said, this year.
And when does he plan on starting on it?
He has started on some of it already, but no funds have been released to him from us yet. As soon as, we always have to wait until it's approved through the city
We
commission.
already started?
The window screens have been put in. 'Cause he had to have that. But that was part of his owner's match anyway, so it didn't matter.
What is this roof thing? Explain that to me.
The roof thing, there's two different parts of the roof thing, so I'm not sure what you're talking about. The roof repairs that he is doing, the DDA allowed him to use as part of the cost for his match. And they've done that routinely with roofs and
So
pavement.
roofs are part of the DDA facade?
No, they allow it to be used as part of the match that's required. The DDA funds don't pay for the roof, his owner's match.
Explain
does.
that to me, then. What does that mean?
That means just what I said.
So if somebody puts on a roof, they can get credit for,
So for
the
example,
match-
when we do any facade, a lot of times the owners are putting a lot of money into the interior, pavement,
I
roofing.
understand.
We count that as part of their match. So on this project, we would say he has 50% match is required, he may have a 70% match when he's all done. All projects are like that. Sometimes they use parts of the project if they feel that it's necessary to complete it at the same time. And the roof project on this one was kind of a major need. And the roof project actually isn't even that much of a cost. I think he said it's going to be under $2,000. So it's not a huge
well, the
amount.
roof cost, is that $3,850?
No,
That's the owner's match.
That's the
required,
owner's match
including
that's
the roof
required.
cost. But the roof
which
cost,
could include the roof.
How much did the DDA, are they,
They are contributing up
contributing.
to no more than $7,500, depending on how all the costs come in.
so what, on page 3 there, the 6350?
That's what has come in so far. So, for example, when we have a project that's under the grant amount, instead of having to go back to the DDA to say, can we, they projected that the sign would cost $500 and the sign comes back at $700, they grant up to an amount, and typically that's what will happen is, as long as it doesn't exceed the grant amount, that's what we do. And this one is under the grant amount. Typically, what you see is well over the grant amount, so that's why this one looks a little bit different. So right now, with all the project costs that are in, $6,350 is what he's anticipating, which does not include the cost of the roof.
So he might not spend the whole 7,500.
Correct. Probably won't.
So why not just say 6350? I mean,
Because it might be $6,500. And the DDA allows,
flexibility to do
the
it.
DDA allows some
Okay.
flexibility.
Okay.
Right.
He
Because
gets
as
up
they,
to 75 if you want it.
I know, it's just,
because as they tear into things, they find things, and
okay.
rather than having another meeting and having to come back and reapprove, they just say up to that amount.
So that 6350 that he was, the total grant from the DDA doesn't include the roof?
Not at all.
Okay,
We don't pay for roofs.
no.
We don't pay for roofs. We don't pay for roofs. No, I'll have a line up a mile long at my door. We don't pay for roofs.
But if someone does a roof, we give them credit for it.
We give them credit towards the match if they request, and the DDA approves.
So it doesn't have to go above the, I'm
Mhm.
just having a hard time figuring this out.
I'm still having trouble with the lighting.
Yep.
He says new signs and new lighting within the sign. And
There's-
then you're talking about an awning with new lights and cans in the awning. That, you have to have a contractor to do that on a commercial building. I
But
can't believe you
electrical-
can do that without a contractor.
The lights in the sign, or the sign company does those. We have,
What about the new lights and cans in the awning?
yeah, that I don't know how that works, to be honest. It's up to him to follow the rules. If he has to have an electrical contractor, then he has to have an electrical contractor.
I don't know if he necessarily needs a contractor, he's an electrician, licensed
Yeah,
electrician.
Electrician.
But typically, a general contractor is not going to serve on a project like this to oversee cans getting put in.
Right, he's just being his own
And
contractor.
typically, we always work with a general contractor.
I see what you're saying. The general contractor didn't come up with the plans, he did all
Right.
this. so.
Right.
I would move that we approve the facade project from the 2017-18 DDA funds
7,500, up to 7,500. Second,
Yeah.
third sentence there.
Yeah, for up to $7,500 with the owner's match being required at $38.50. Is that right? Is that what we're looking for?
All right, do I have a support?
I support.
All right, motion by Commissioner Thompson, support by Commissioner Phelan to approve the facade project from the 2017-18 DDA funds with funding up to $7,500 with the owner's match of $38.50. Any more discussions?
I think it's a good thing. I mean, that dairy flow's been kind of a little cornerstone here in Gladstone for a long time, and probably could use a little facelift and a little upgrading.
And it
All right.
will look completely different. It's all new color scheme. It's different. It's a little out there, a little loud, but it's an ice cream place.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And we don't pay for roofs.
All right, city managers report.
The 4th of July is next Tuesday, on the 4th this year. Parade starts at 11 o'clock, and the day starts out with the firecracker run at 8 a.m., Kiwanis annual firecracker run. There'll be some events going on in the park, some good bands playing, the barber shoppers, kids' games, and fireworks will be at dusk. Just announcing that. Adam, our favorite guy in the back of the room, we've been notified by charter that they're no longer going to be providing that service. He's got one more meeting, the first meeting in July he will be at. That'll be the last one. So we're looking, right now we're working on alternatives. Possibility of buying our own equipment, getting some prices on that. Adam has a proposal to continue on, but we'd have to find the equipment. And also, Spectrum has sent us a price if the commissioners wanted it to be live, a live feed, to get us the bandwidth required for that. And I'll include that all in the package when we're looking at what the commission would like to do with that. The price they gave us was a $250 one-time installation fee, but for the bandwidth and would be $360 a month.
What else can you use that bandwidth for? Anything?
Yeah, you could use it for. Yeah,
Is there potential to sell some of that?
I don't.
People do. You get a T1 line or whatever they call
Yeah.
it down coming in, you can
If you had people come in want to use it. Suppose
you can transmit it too.
Anyway, we're gonna start getting some numbers and some options lined up. See what we're gonna do there. Renee and Vicki and I sat in on a phone conference with the Northern Initiatives. It's the first time we did it this year. There was another one last year, but this was for a loan request from K&M Industrial and was approved for them for a $100,000 loan. They're doing quite well, our company at the end of the street. It's, Northern Initiatives is the one that took over what our old revolving loan fund was from the EDC. That's our second loan. Delta also got a loan from them later last year. The last thing I had was the MERS report. I've read through it. I didn't come prepared to go into analysis of it. What I wanted to do is see if the commission wanted to have it at the next meeting, or I could have a special meeting. I could have a representative from MERS come, go through the whole thing with everybody.
What I'd like to see is give us 2 more weeks to look at it. I've went through it a couple
That's why I
times.
didn't want to go over it.
There's so much in there and so,
Well, I agree.
you know, and then let us decide, you know, as a commission with each one.
Decide at the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I'd like to see
Yep.
personally myself. There's a lot in there.
It's just packed.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
a really
to
good idea,
digest.
because it'll take a couple weeks.
I will let Tara know what our plans are, and we'll go from there. That's all I had.
All right, thank you. City Commission and committee reports. I see the quarterly financial report.
Quarterly financial reports are through the end of May. Not much activity, it's just for the 2 months, April and May. So there really isn't that much to report on. Of course, we have no tax revenue because tax bills haven't gone out yet. But are there any questions? Any questions? In other financial news, the auditors did start today, so we have started the audit for the 2017 fiscal year. We'll be camping out here in the commission chambers for the next 2 months, digging through all of our records and whatnot. Also, been talking about tax bills. Summer tax bills will be going out this week as well.
Thank you. All right, board and commission reports. All right, public comment?
Ken Levine, 2722 South Hill Road, Gladstone. Thursday, I called the Delta County landfill down there. There says on there they're open 24 hours, but that is not true. The only thing that's open 24 hours is the leaves, the grass, and garden waste. The brush, 8 till 3, Saturday, noon to 3, till 8 till noon, and they monitor it. They also, there's people that come in there pay $250. That's why are they coming in on ours? We're not getting nothing for it. On the 10th, when they fix the cameras, which the cameras still aren't working, can't see nothing what's going on. Now this is almost the end of June. This is what I'm talking about, nothing being done in this town. For over 4 years I've been working at compost, trying to do the right thing. Had other people try to do the right thing. Still got 2 or 3 people trying to help out. And nothing seems to be done. It's just 24, if you're open 24 hours, they're coming in there, sneaking there through the back way at night. Nobody sees it, but there's a guy there that watches. You got the red pickup truck. When somebody goes in there, he's sitting out there or he's outside, he sees who's going in there. So far, we got 16 people from non-residents and 4 contractors for sure. Now, is this the way we run this place? Gladstone people are paying for all this and we're not doing nothing about it? You think it's right? Use all the commissioners. You think it's right? I don't. And the citizens of Gladstone don't. I've talked to almost 300 people in the last couple of months. They're not liking what's going on. I ask one question I always ask them, what would you rather have, this compost site or a bicycle trail? I haven't found one that wanted the bicycle trail but wanted that compost site. He's tried to close it last year. What happened? People came down here like crazy. If you try to do it again, there'll be a lot more people down here. I'm telling you, something's got to be done and done soon. Now we're into June already. Come November, we ain't got nothing done by November, and all this stuff was going on. You're bringing garbage in there even. Trash I pick up. I emptied 2 white bags and 3 black bags full of trash, not extra trash, leaves and everything else in it, paper cups and that. And then up by the garbage cans, I moved stuff up there that I picked up. Trash laying right there. And I put a couple more pieces on that pile yesterday. I can't blame the DPW. I gotta blame the people that are supposed to be running the city and doing the right things. We need something done right. And you people can do it. It's your job as commissioners. Can't keep going on for 4 years like this, and they've been coming in there for 7 years. They even told me. Yep, we're paying through the nose, and these people are coming in there for nothing. So all I got to say is, things got to change. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Citizen, but I'm doing this as city business. I just wanted to give you some dates of some things coming up. First of all, I wanted to let you know that we normally would have our painting pretty much done by the 4th of July, but every time we try to paint the parking stalls, it rains. It's been crazy. So it's not for lack of trying. July 10th, their 9th Street is going to be shut down where the railroad crosses down the hill there. We're going to be taking the tracks out. We aren't going to, but CN Railroad is going to be doing that. So that road will be shut down in that area for that one day.
Permanently?
Just one day?
Just the one day. That's what
No,
the
I mean,
plan
the
is.
track's gonna be taken out permanently.
Yes, yes.
Oh, that'll be nice.
And the highway too. So they're going
wow.
to be taking that all. It's a MDOT.
That's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
So
that'll be
that's
nice.
happening on the 10th. So I just wanted to give a heads up that we're going to have a little. It's going to be signed and stuff, you know. And if you're interested, on July 11th, WPPI is having an on-the-go orientation to WPPI. It's going to be in Florence, and I'll forward you the information. I don't know what time it is off the top of my head, but that's a good program. August 28th, WPPI is going to be coming and doing a presentation to you. If we have, I have to verify the date and stuff here, but and they want to do a presentation about the services they offer and an overview of everything. Steve, Commissioner View and I sat through a presentation on a USDA loan about facilities improvements, and I'm going to do a little more research on that loan. It's a planning type of loan. It's not a loan, it's a grant. To see if we can get some help planning some facilities here at the city. I don't know what that would be exactly, whether it's a DPW building or whatever. But and then we did get a Prosperous Places grant, $4,000. So it's a $4,000 match to address the Emerald Ash Borer. So we're going to be having some monies in the fall to replace some of the trees we have to take down that are infected with the Emerald Ash Borer. So that was just a couple things I wanted to share with you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, any more public comment?
Guys, I thought I brought you 3, code, ordinance, policy violations with the timing of when you can vote on this, what you can actually put on, electric versus water, and being communicated to. I'm not convinced everyone up there's extremely well versed in the code and ordinances I brought to you guys today. And to then vote on it, relying on other people's thoughts and opinions, and not just my own. I was reading right from the book, though, that's online that I can get to. I'm not convinced that's the right way to do it, and I think you guys are backed into the corner on timing and finances. That's a bad position to be in, because now you're weighing what could potentially be put on taxes and maybe lost forever, which I'm not convinced that's a true statement yet either, but, I don't know, so I'm only giving my opinion. But at the end of the day, this is policy and ordinance. It wasn't followed. And now it was voted on, not followed. It's not a financial issue. We got to get the policies and ordinances right before we start voting on things. Can't be backed into a corner either. And yeah, maybe it's to let people have more time to pay their bills. That's not what the ordinance says. The ordinance says sometime in May we got to be voting on this. Not today. You guys are backed into a corner. I'm suffering because of it. LEAF is a subsidy. It's it's not necessarily a tax, but we're subsidizing people not paying. So is what happened today by putting these bills on my taxes. without being communicated to in what I would call a timely manner. And definitely not when the ordinance says you can. Tough position to be on your end of the stick, but I don't envy your position. Apologize for having you use your gavel a few times. But again, if you're not well versed in this, don't listen to my opinion either. Don't listen to anybody's. You got to know what you're voting on and where you guys stand on ordinances that you're about to vote on. So, just my thoughts. If you guys have questions, thoughts, comments, want to shoot me for what I've said, but just my thoughts. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, any more? All right, moving on to city commissioner comments. Commissioner View.
All right, over the last week, I had somebody request the dog leash law again. Where are we as a city with the enforcement standard between the county and the state rules? They've talked about it extensively a year ago, and they wanted to have some type of acknowledgement on when it was going to be reviewed. They asked me to bring it up, so I am. So I think I can remember a year ago having a bunch of talks about it. So they're just wondering where we are with it. They said that they give a couple examples of what happened over the last couple of weeks, and I won't let you know about that. But then also flag in cemetery, Memorial Day. I received a call from American Legion, Sons of American Legion spokesperson describing that on Saturday, May 27th, 2017, volunteers spent many hours putting flags by each headstone of our veterans at the cemetery. This is done to honor them for their service to our country. He stated how very concerning it was to notice that the flags were not displayed the following day. I'm not verifying what he's saying. I'm just telling you what he's saying. But he said he rode by the next day and the flags were removed. He is asking if we can keep this honor of displaying the flags for a longer period of time. They would like to be able to display until Veterans Day, but they said they can compromise that the 4th of July would be, right after the 4th of July would be good. He would like to have the policy committee make a ruling on his request. So I don't know if you want to, if there can be a policy that them flags can be out or something. And I think we had something like this last year, too.
There's the cemetery committee, which has one of the
Okay,
veteran
what-
guys on it, and it has the two of the funeral home members, and Gary and Ken.
But didn't we talk about this last year? Wasn't this
Yeah.
up again? And they said the same thing last year. So, I mean, they called me right away, and I said, I'll bring it up and see if something can be addressed where they may be able to stay out a little longer,
Flags till the 4th of July.
till just after the 4th. And when he called me, I do a lot of traveling around the UP, and just about every city I went into in the last week, from here to, that I seen cemeteries, flags are up. You can ride by Manistee, they're up, all the way down to Mount Pleasant. Any place I went where there was a cemetery, and I can't remember some of the other cities, but Manistee sticks in my mind because I'm there 4 times a week. And there's cemeteries right on the highway. The flags are there. So he has some merit there on, I think that we should at least look into it. One other thing, new hirees. I want to congratulate all the new hirees that we had, which would be the Public Safety Director, the DDA, EDC Coordinator, and of course, eventually our City Manager. And I think that when we have new hirees, it would be nice to introduce them to the city at a meet and greet session, whether it's before a commission meeting or a special day or something, just so that we can bond a little bit with the new people, the citizens can come in, and we can do some. I feel that would be good for every employee that we have with the city. And I know we probably hired some other ones, but let's see if we can get everyone together and meet these people, and they can meet us. And it's just my thoughts. I don't know if anyone else wants to throw anything on that, but I thought would be well worth looking into.
Well, we're definitely considering that with the city manager.
I think
Doing
everyone.
that. Right, no, but I mean, I'm
Yep,
just saying.
Yep,
in
okay, I didn't know,
particular.
I didn't know,
Yeah.
but I thought this would be great for even our public safety
The two
director.
public
Right.
safety guys, the second one was just sworn in today, so we're gonna have them both, they'll both be at the next meeting.
Yeah, but I,
When you do our, it used to be our quarterly staff gatherings,
Luncheons.
we always,
Well, I'm thinking of the public too. You know, there may be people out there that might want to come in, and business owners for our new DDA guy, and you know, stuff like that. That might want to come in and just see who he is and throw stuff at him or something. I don't know. See what sticks. I'm just trying to think of a way to bring us all a little bit closer together as a community from outside of City Hall. That we're all real people. We all have issues. We all have problems, but we can all solve them together. And meeting people will kind of help. That you know, you shake your hand. I don't want them just coming up to the podium at a commission meeting. Here's your new employee. I mean, where we can just mingle around for 20 minutes or something. I don't know. That's my thoughts. And I'm done. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Thompson?
You got no comments?
Commissioner Mantor?
Just hope everyone's enjoying summer and have a safe and happy 4th, and we'll see you down at the park, and have your family and friends come to Gladstone.
All right, Commissioner Phelan?
I'd like to wish everybody a safe and happy 4th of July.
All right, I too want to wish everyone happy 4th, and just to let you know, Commissioner Thompson and I and the city attorney is still in negotiations with the city manager. So just want to give you an update that we're still negotiating. All right, and next is city clerk comments. Did Kim have anything?
She's at Country USA on her way home.
All right, next up is closed session for negotiation and strategy supervisor, local union 906.
I'll move that we enter into closed session to consider strategy and negotiation sessions connected with the negotiation of a collective bargaining agreement as allowable under the Open Meetings Act 267 of 1967, Section 8, Item C.
76.
Oh, yeah, 76. I got dyslexic there.
All right, A, support.
Support.
All right, roll call.
Commissioner Phelan?
Yes.
Commissioner Mantua?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner View?
Yes.
Mayor Bostwick?
Yes, we are now in closed session.